Rab explains it all. Math, chem, physics never fall. Subscribe and learn. Ace every test, so Rab explains it best.
Hi everyone, I hope you are doing well. Welcome to this video and welcome to my channel. In this video we are going to learn how to calculate the density of an object and we are going to solve several examples. As always in this video I'm not going to talk about the concept and definition of density because I have already taught you that topic and I'm gonna put the link of that video in the description. Okay, without wasting any more time, let's jump into today's lesson. The formula that we have for calculating the value of density is gonna be rho, which stands for density, is equal to m or mass over v, which stands for volume. The units that we have for mass in this part is gonna be kilogram and gram. And for volume, the units that we are gonna use is gonna be cubic meters and cubic centimeter. Okay, if I have mass based on gram and if I have volume based on cubic centimeter, the unit of density or rho is gonna be gram per cubic centimeter, because as you can see, those two terms are dividing by each other. And if I have mass based on kilogram and volume based on cubic meter, the unit of density is gonna be kilogram per cubic meter. As I told you, other units are not common, so the units that we are going to use for density is going to be gram per cubic centimeter and kilogram per cubic meter. And if we want to convert those units to each other, for example, we have gram per cubic centimeter, and if we want to convert it to kilogram per cubic meter, the only thing that we need to do is multiplying by 1000. And if I want to do the vice versa, the only thing that I need to do is dividing by 1000. Okay, at the beginning, you may think to yourself that this formula and the way that we are going to use it can be a little bit challenging or complicated, but don't worry, we are going to learn that through examples as always. Look at the first example. The question expects us to calculate the density. Okay, for the first scenario, what do we have? We have the mass, which is 100 gram, and volume, which is 10 cubic centimeters. Okay, let me write it. I have m, which is equal to 100 gram, and volume, which is equal to 10 cubic centimeter. I'm gonna write the formula. Rho is equal to m, which is mass, over volume. First of all, I must check that if the units are corresponding or not. Yes, here I have mass based on gram and volume based on cubic centimeter. So the unit of rho is gonna be gram per cubic centimeter, and those units are corresponding by each other. So the unit conversion is not needed here. Let's calculate the rho. I have the mass 100 gram and volume 10. It's gonna be 10 gram per cubic centimeters, and this is the answer of the first part. Okay, let's do the second part. I have volume, which is equal to 3 cubic meters, and I have mass, which is 9 kilogram. Units are corresponding because I have kilogram and cubic meters, so I do not have to do any conversion. Rho is equal to m over v, which is gonna be 9 over 3, and the answer is gonna be 3. And this time the unit is gonna be kilogram per cubic meter. This is the answer of the second part. Let's solve this example. We have a piece of steel and we have the volume of that steel, which is 12 cubic centimeters. I'm going to write it here. It's not going to hurt you, and I strongly suggest you to write the information like this. And I have the mass. The mass is, let me write m, is equal to 96 gram. What does the question part? In the first part, the question expects us to calculate the density based on gram per cubic centimeter. Okay, I have the mass based on gram and I have the volume based on cubic centimeter. So I do not have to do any unit conversion. Let me write it. Rho is gonna be equal to m over v. I have m, which is 96, and I have volume, which is 12. So the answer is gonna be 8, and the unit is gonna be gram per cubic centimeters. This is the answer of the first part. In the second part, the question expects us to calculate the density based on kilogram per cubic meter. I have already calculated the value of density based on gram per cubic centimeter. So the only thing that I need to do is converting this unit to kilogram per cubic meter. As I told you, when we face this scenario, the only thing that we need to do is multiplying by 1000. So the answer is gonna be 8000 kilogram per cubic meters. We have a golf ball, which we drop it into a measuring cylinder of water. The level of water increased by 30 cubic centimeters when the ball is completely submerged. If the ball has a mass of 33 gram in the air, find its density. So I have the mass. What is the mass? It is 33 gram. Do I have the volume? Yes, I have the volume. But let me explain to you what does it mean. Look, I have a measuring cylinder and I have a little bit water inside that. I'm gonna drop the ball inside the measuring cylinder. When I do that, the level of water is going to increase. But for how much? The level of water is going to increase for 30 cubic centimeter. And as I told you before, this is the method that we call it water displacement, and the amount of increase in the level of water shows the volume of the object. So I can realize that the volume of this ball is gonna be 30 cubic centimeters. So now I have the mass and I have the volume. Calculating density is gonna be really easy and units are corresponding. So I'm gonna write 33 over 30. I can simplify both of them by 3. It's gonna be 11. It's gonna be 10. So I can write it as 1.1. And the answer is gonna be gram per cubic centimeters. Really easy. Let's solve the next example. Here we have a cuboid, or an object which we call it rectangular prism. I have the mass, which is 90,000 kilogram, and I have dimensions of the object. Do I have the volume? No, but you know how are you supposed to calculate the volume of cuboid. The only thing that you need to do is multiplying length, width, and height. Okay, I have those values. Length here is 5, width here is 3, and height here is 1. So the answer is gonna be 15. What is the unit of this 15? As you can see, I have all the dimensions based on meter. So this one is gonna be cubic meters. Now let's write the formula. Rho is equal to m over v. I have m, which is 90,000 over 15. I expect you to know how to do this division. If you do this division, you would realize that the answer of this example is gonna be 6,000, and the unit is gonna be kilogram per cubic meters. Really easy. Here we have a cylinder and the question expects us to calculate the density, and it says we can use pi is equal to 3. I have the mass and I have dimensions. So I must be able to calculate the volume. What was the formula of calculating volume of cylinder? V is equal to pi r to the power of 2 times h, or height, or area of the base, times height. The question says that I can assume pi is equal to 3. So I'm going to write 3. R here is 2 centimeters. I'm going to write 2 to the power of 2, and height is 3. If I do that, I would realize this is gonna be 4. 3 times 4 is gonna be 12, and 36. What is the unit of that? Because I have dimensions based on centimeter, the unit of volume is gonna be cubic centimeters. Now I can write the formula for calculating density. Rho is equal to m over v. Do I have M? Yes, it is 108. And do I have volume? Yes, it is 36. So the answer is gonna be 3. And because I have mass based on gram and volume based on cubic centimeter, the answer is gonna be gram per cubic centimeter. Here we have a stone and we drop it in a measuring cylinder, and as you can see, the level of water is gonna increase from 25 to 75. As I told you before, in this case the volume is gonna be the amount of increase in the level of water. So the volume is gonna be 75 minus 25 is gonna be 50 milliliters, and we already know that milliliter is gonna be equal to cubic centimeter. So I have the volume and I have the mass. The only thing that I need to do is using the formula rho is equal to m over v. I have m 200 over 50. So the answer is gonna be 4. Units are corresponding and I'm gonna write gram per cubic centimeter. Really easy. Here I have a sphere and the question expects us to calculate the density of that. I have the mass which is 96, but I do not have the volume, but I have diameter. What was the formula for calculating the volume of a sphere? V is equal to 4 over 3 times pi times r to the power of 3. Okay, do I have radius here? No, I do not have radius. I have diameter. What should I do in this case? Should I rewrite the formula based on diameter? Yes, I can do that, but it's gonna be really time consuming. There is an easier method. What should I do? The only thing that I need to do is dividing the diameter by 2 to find the radius. So the radius is gonna be 2 centimeter here. So V is gonna be 4 over 3. Do I have pi? Yes, the question says that I can assume pi is equal to 3. And I have the radius which is 2. These two are going to cancel each other out. 2 to the power of 3 is going to be 8, and 4 times 8 is going to be 32 cubic centimeters, because I have the radius based on centimeter. Okay, I have mass and I have volume. The only thing that I need to do is using the formula m divided by v. Do I have mass? Yes, this is 96, and I must divide it by 32. And as I'm definitely sure you are able to do this division, and the answer is gonna be 3 because I have this one based on gram and that one based on cubic centimeter. The unit is gonna be gram per cubic centimeter. Here I have a cone and we want to calculate the density of that. I have the mass of this cone, but I do not have the volume and I need to calculate the volume of this cone. What was the formula for calculating the volume of the cone? 1 over 3 times pi times r to the power of 2 times h, or 1/3 of the area of the base times height. So let me replace the values. 1 over 3. Do I have pi? Yes, the question says you can assume that pi is equal to 3. Do I have radius? No, I have diameter of the circle. The only thing that I need to do is dividing this value by 2. As I told you before, it's going to be 2 centimeter. So 2 to the power of 2 and height is 3. It's going to be 4. These two values are going to cancel each other out, and the final answer is going to be 12 cubic centimeter because I have dimensions based on centimeter. Now I'm going to write the formula rho is equal to m over v. I have m which is 480, and here the volume is 12. So if I do this division, I would realize that the answer is going to be 40, and the unit is going to be gram per cubic centimeter. Really easy. Here you can find more examples, and I strongly suggest you to solve them at home. If you have any question or if you wanted to share your answer, please feel free and write them in the comment box. I will try to answer them as soon as it was possible for me. Thank you for watching this video.